Gauteng government by itself.
Into ebalulekileyo ukuthi xa kuzaphinde kuphathwe ngoku after lama vote makwenziwe mayithi xa iphuma imali maziphume imali zokuba zisize umphakathi zokuba zilungise imisebenzi kwenziwe follow-ups.
As a confident voter, as I feel about the coalition that is going to be formed after the elections, I feel that it's going to be something good, especially in a time where we live now, where the residents of Gauteng, most of us, we are struggling. So I think to have a coalition with other parties, it will make the party that's going to be in power, I think it will make it a bit stronger. And then we can find out after that. We will see what happens after that. But with coalitions, we feel that it's going to be something good.
Yeah, that's that because why? So, what mistake I approve
Meanwhile, Build One South African leader Bosa Maimane says he has accepted the election results. Addressing a media briefing a short while ago, Maimane described the elections as free and fair. He, however, says if parties want to raise objections, that is their own issue, but they should not keep the country in a space where there is a continuous litigation about the results and should instead focus on formulating a new government.
I've watched what the IEC has done. This is my 6th election, so I've seen this movie before. I think that, what meets the threshold on free and fair elections is an important task. It's not going to be perfect. Free and fair is not perfect. Free and fair has its own threshold that needs to be met. And I think, by and large, I've accepted the results. We've dealt with that. And if parties want to raise the objectives, that's their own issue. But what we don't need is to keep a country in a space where we are in continuous litigation about election results, rather than, in fact, formulating a government. And I think one of these elections prove the first simple point, which is that the opposition writ large, the broader opposition, has triumphed in this moment. The NC is now, if you like, a minority party in that sense. And therefore, it's an important moment for us to take cognizance of, because it is important that a party is held accountable for load shedding, unemployment, crime going forward. I cannot, and for me, it remains to be seen. What's got to happen now, the job now, is to get adults in the room, make sure we think for 60 million South Africans, not for political parties, build a new center, because if the center collapses, I can assure you, you are going to end up with ethnic mobilization becoming a permanent theme of this country, and we can't have that.
Well, the Freedom Front Plus added their voice to the growing chorus of voices that are criticizing the IEC's management of this year's elections. Their leader, Dr. Groenewald, says that they have concerns that they would like to raise with the IEC.
Our concerns are actually the fact that many voters stood up early to go and vote. And when they arrived at the voting station, they were informed that either they were registered at a different point, although they have proof that they are registered at that specific voting station, but they didn't allow them to vote. Many voters, in terms of the system, said that they can only receive one ballot, either the national ballot or the regional ballot or only the provincial ballot. And it took until about 1 o'clock to realize that it was a big problem, and then they've put out a directive to say to voting stations and the presiding officers, in that case, if the person is on the voting roll, on the hard copy, then that person must receive all 3 ballots.
Well, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, or the CSIR, has predicted that 8 parties will actually walk away from this year's general poll without obtaining a single seat in Parliament. Now, these include former ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule's ACT party, as well as the ACM party of former SABC COO Mr. Hlaudi Motsoeneng. Lizo Olivier is at the National Results Operations Center in Midrand in Gauteng. The act won't leave the elections completely empty-handed. Magashule party is expected to obtain one less seat in the Free State legislature. Now that leaves 7 parties with nothing to take home, and contesting elections is also a costly business. Parties have to fork out 300,000 rand if they want to compete in the national poll and all regional elections. Leader of the African Congress for Transformation Act and former ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule says he has evidence and proof that votes may have been rigged.
This morning, received a report from one VD in Velkom, Rehabetsu High School, where the ANC vote moves from 490 to 690. But the slip is there, and the results of the IEC, when they capture the results, is no more 49, it's 600 and something. It's real. In Sasol, we find a presiding officer found by one of our leaders with ballot papers alone in the office. In Kronstadt, we find ballot boxes. We found the ANC council with the presiding officer. In Excelsior, where almost the entire community vote act, the results, the ballot boxes are empty. We don't know where the ballot papers.
Have you been able
in
to...
Bethlehem, the same. In Kwakwa, the same. In Bloemfontein, the same.
Apologies. Have you been able to gauge if it was a material difference in outcome?
Very material. In one VD, we got 300. What is recorded is 30. Is that not material? 300 vis-a-vis 30. That's serious. And that's deliberate. It's not just mistakes. In the Val, our votes were given to Action SA. That is reported by our party agents.
Should the ACT party, or the results rather, be declared in the manner that we see them right now on the leaderboard? What is the next step for the ACT party?
Well, we are not spoilers. We want free and fair elections. We're consulting, and our lawyers are ready. Like ARA has gone to court. We have met with UDM, and we have met with COPE, we have met with MK, we have met with Hope South Africa, we have met with ARA, we have met with Freedom Front. Everybody wants a recount. In the whole of Western Cape, people want, all parties want a recount except the DA. What is that? What does it tell you? Should we just keep quiet and say, for the sake of the integrity of IEC, we should keep quiet? Or should we raise this thing so that these things never actually happen? I can assure you, if a recount is done, it's going to open a can of worms.
All right, we continue, of course, tracking all the developments in relation to vote counting. And as we understand of this, at this moment, capturing of the general election results in Limpopo has been completed. And we do have our reporter there, Mahlatse Paladi. Mahlatse, a very good afternoon to you. So we understand that the capturing of results in your area has been completed. Talk to us about how that process has been. Mahlatse, good afternoon. All right, we seem to be struggling with our reporter there, Mahlatse Paladi, who's out in Limpopo, where we understand the capturing of votes in that particular province has already been completed. We are going to try and establish that connection with her in a short moment. Let's take a quick ad break. We'll be back after that.